In this video, I'm going to be showing you the 4 simple steps that I use to go from charging $0 to $1,400 an hour as a strategist. And the best part is you can use these steps whether you have a service business, you're a coach, or a consultant to be able to charge more for your services. If you followed me on Instagram, you've probably seen my journey. You know that in 2020, you could go to the link in my bio on Instagram and you could have access to my calendar and you could book 15 minutes free with me. I did that because I was sharing a lot of content on Instagram that a lot of people seemed to like. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just talk to some of these people and see if I can help them in a deeper way? So what happened is I opened up my calendar to everybody that was following me on Instagram at the time. And I will tell you, I did not anticipate what was going to happen. I literally was having 2 calls every day. Like, I would go to work because I had a business in Nairobi with a partner, and part of my schedule was every day at lunchtime I would have these consultation calls, and I would talk to people from Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, the UK, USA, India. I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs. I think that year I talked to over 200 entrepreneurs, all for free. I didn't ask them for anything. I just helped them with their brand strategy. So, and what happened is during that time, I discovered that most of these people were finding the stuff that I was sharing really helpful, right? And they would say thank you. And I posted a lot. If you go to my Instagram, there's a highlights where I post most of their responses there because they would give me feedback about how they found our sessions. So what does this have to do with anything? So I'm sharing this to tell you that the first step of you being able to charge more has a lot to do with your heart. You see, when I was giving away my time for free for a whole year, my heart was of service, right? I wanted to serve these entrepreneurs. I wanted to give them everything that I had, right? Because I wanted them to succeed in their businesses. And the first step for you to be able to charge more, you have to have a heart of service, right? If you look at people as if they are people that are supposed to benefit you and you're not supposed to benefit them, then you're playing the wrong game and nobody's gonna pay you anything, right? So you need to first understand that you need to really have a heart of service. Whatever business you're in, first thing is you have to have a heart of service, because if I didn't have a heart of service, I wouldn't have been able to do all those calls for a whole year without expecting anything from these people, okay? So step number 1, if you want to be able to charge more for your services, is you need to have a heart of service. Are you really interested in helping these people? Are you really interested in serving them in the most excellent way? Is it just money for you? If it's just money for you, then it means that you've already committed the first sin, right? And people are really good at seeing people that just want money from them, right? And they're really good at staying away from people who just want money from them. So you don't want to be that person. So be a person that has a heart of service, and then you will be on the fast track to be able to creating value and getting paid more, okay? So step 1 is have a heart of service. Step number 2 is you need to validate that what you have is valuable first, right? So when I was doing these free consultation calls for a whole year, I got an opportunity to see whether what I knew was actually valuable, because whenever I would share these strategies and these tips with these people, I would see their reaction. I would see how they would respond. I would see how they would thank me. And I would see that, wow, okay, so what I do know is valuable to these people. So step number 2 is you have to validate, is what you have valuable? You have to go out there and you have to test it. You have to test what you have, whether you're a coach, consultant, or a service provider. Go and test out your service. Do people actually value it? Do they appreciate it at all? If they don't appreciate it, then you need to find something else that people appreciate, because you don't want to be selling things that people don't appreciate, okay? So step number 2 is you have to validate your service. Step number 3, the value of the gap. So something that I was doing when I was having those free consultation calls is I would try to understand how valuable is this information that I'm giving these people, and what is it doing for their businesses. So I would ask them, what is your biggest challenge in your business? Or what is your biggest challenge trying to grow a brand? And what will solving that problem, what is it worth to you? Or what will it do for your business, right? And I got to understand the value of those strategies that I was giving these people, right? So if I'm giving somebody a strategy that's gonna take them from making $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month, now I know the value of the gap, right? I know that what I have given them has been able to help them close that gap. And so now I can see, when I start pricing my services, I can start to see where I can charge it. So I know if I'm moving someone from 1,000 to 10,000 through my strategy, I know that I can't ask those people for $10, okay? Do you guys see what I'm saying? So you need to understand, what is the value of the gap? Is the gap from where you're taking your clients, or where they are to where they're going, is it a large enough gap? And can you figure out how much that gap is worth, right? Because let me continue the story for what happened after 2020. So after 2020, I decided, you know what, man, I've spent this whole year giving all this free value to these people, and I think it's valuable enough for me to charge for it. So what I decided on 2021, and if you followed me, you've seen it. I told everybody, hey, so starting this next year, 2021, if you want to book me, it's going to be $100 an hour. So what happened? Nothing happened. Nothing happened the first month. Nothing happened the second month. Nothing happened the third month. And this is where, this is a moment of honesty, because a lot of people don't like to talk about the part when things are not working. You know, there's a lot of people and gurus out there that like to show you that, hey, I just went from not figuring this thing out to figuring it. I'm telling you, when I decided to charge, nobody booked me for 3 months. And I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute. There is no way that those calls that I was doing for those people are worth $100. So I immediately realized I am too cheap. And because I'm too cheap, maybe these people are thinking, wait, something is off. If booking Joe is $100 an hour for strategy, then I don't know, is it really worth it? So what I did next is something that a lot of people are afraid to do. So what I did next is I actually doubled the price. I added $150 on top of it. I started charging $250 an hour. And guess what? Immediately I did that, I got a lady that booked an hour with me for $250. And I was surprised. I was like, okay, cool, right? And I had that call with her, and that call was so good and it was so impactful that at the end I was like, wait a minute, there is no way that strategy that I just gave this lady was worth $250 an hour. I think it should be $500. So what I decided next is to double it again. I didn't even wait for other calls. I just moved from 100, where there was nothing, it was crickets, to 250, where I had my first booking, and then to 500. And guess what? I got booked again, twice. I was like, okay, all right. So I guess this is the price. So, and then I started having these calls over and over. And every time I would have a call and it was so good, I would be like, no way. There's no way that was worth that. And then I would double the price again, right? And I've been doing that until now we're at $1,400 an hour. And in fact, the strategies that we work with these businesses are so good that I had a person thank me in tears because of what I was able to help them with their business, right? I'm not going to mention them here today, but anyway, I want you to see what happened here. I went from charging 0 to 100, nothing happened because it was too low, 250, 500, and now we're at 1400. What is the difference? So the difference is in step number 4. And step number 4 is you need to charge in direct proportion to the value of the gap. In step number 3, I told you guys about the gap, right? So you need to understand where is your client right now and where do they want to be, and what is the value of that jump. And if you're able to find the value of that jump, you should be able to ask for at very least 10% of the value of that jump, right? So if you're helping someone with a very difficult problem and the value of that problem is large, then it shouldn't be difficult for you to charge more for that service. If you're helping somebody solve a problem that is worth $1 million, then you can't be charging $10 for it, right? So you need to charge in direct proportion to the value of the gap, okay? So I'm gonna go through the 4 steps again, and then I'm gonna give you guys a bonus tip. So again, step number 1 is have a heart of service, because you are not gonna be valuable to anyone if all you care about is money. You need to care about what your clients care about. You need to care about their needs. You need to care about them enough to even put yourself out there and do stuff for free. Like I did consultation calls for free for a whole year. Okay, so have a heart of service. Number 2, validate first. Validate is go out there and actually find out, do people actually care? Do they value the service that I provide? And you can tell this very quickly based on how they respond to and how they engage with you. You can tell whether your service is meaningful or not. And based on the questions that they ask you and what they want you to do, if they feel like what you're doing is relevant, then chances are they're not going to pay you, or you need to go somewhere else or find something else that people are willing to pay for. Okay. And then number 4 is charge in direct proportion to the value of the gap. And an example is 10%. So figure out how much does it cost for your client to go from where they are to where they want to be. And let's say, for instance, you're a makeup artist and you're pricing your services. What you need to figure out is, what does it cost my client to go from where they are not looking their best, to looking their best? How much is that worth to them, right? And you need to figure out how to express that to them. Like, you need to figure out, how do you show them that you're giving them a transformation that's moving them from A to B, and then figure out how much is that worth to them. And once you figure out how much that is worth to them, for example, maybe in the past they have had to wait for hours for a person. Maybe they haven't been happy with the service of other people because it wasn't done well. So what they're looking for is someone that can give them something that they believe is worth it. Something that when they step out there, they feel confident in who they are. Someone that can do that consistently. And if you show that you're that person for them, then you're going to be indispensable to them and they will want to pay you well. If you show you're like everybody else and you're not able to move them from where they are to where they want to be, or you don't understand what that gap is, then you're not going to be able to charge more. You're not going to be able to charge thousands of dollars for your service. Okay. So I promised you guys a bonus tip, and I'm going to give you this tip because it happened to me. I was doing one of my sessions and I asked this client of mine that I was doing a strategy call with, I asked him, hey, why did you pick me? Why didn't you pick anybody else? Like, why me? And I thought she was going to say, because I have seen your content, it's so valuable, because I think you have a brilliant mind. I thought she was going to say those things, but she didn't. She said, I love that you're a family man. And I was like, what? So, um, what I learned that day is, well, I didn't really learn that day, but it was a reminder that people choose you not because of what you do, but because of your values. What you do is just a consequence, right? So, but if they connect with your values, then they know that you're the right person to help them. So if you are a person that values family, and you meet me and you realize that I value family, I love my dad, my mom, my parents, my wife, then you feel like I am the right person to help you. So a lot of people are afraid to display their values. A lot of people are afraid to tell stories about their values. Like I tell the story of how growing up, I was insecure about my second name, Mutuku, and I hated it. And I share about how now I have embraced it and I love it and I use it all the time. People connect with those kind of stories that show your values. So don't be afraid of sharing those stories, because those are the stories that make you different. Those are the stories that get people to say yes to you, right? Like this lady, she believed I was the right person to help her because I shared values that she valued. Okay. So don't be afraid of sharing your values with your clients out there. Don't just share what you do, share why you do it, and share the heart behind why you do it. Okay. And you will be surprised when you're able to attract clients. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and let me know if this content was useful and if you would like me to post more of this style of content on YouTube as I am experimenting. And I will see you guys on the next one.